Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unconfused. Season 4, man.
Wrapping
Season
up.
4, almost at the end, man. Christmas time is across
Woo.
across from us coming through. How you doing, Unc? How's it going, man? Talk to me with your fresh dashiki swag. I see you, Unc. I see you.
It's
Sir.
freezing out, man. It's like minus 17 out here, man. So, yeah, I got my African cloth on here today, thinking warm equatorial thoughts, hoping that might aid things.
Man, I feel you heavy, brother. Me, it's cold here too. It's actually been cold for the past few weeks. We've been experiencing a lot of snow, man. I need to go somewhere tropical like
Yeah.
Tanzania, back home, Rwanda. I need to go someplace where I can chill on a beach, chill in
Yeah.
some sun, bro.
And I ain't getting there anytime soon, man. Hence the clock.
Hey, I don't blame you, man. But let me tell you a place that's probably hot right now, at least feeling hot. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
shoot.
The city of Atlanta. Yes, they finally won again.
Fucking guys.
29 to 28, a come from behind win from Atlanta. This is really, really important win for them because think about it like this. They are still, it sounds crazy, they're still alive in
Very
the NFC
crazy.
South title, title to get the division. And with that loss, the Bucks are now number 2 in the division. And yes, I know who would have thought the Carolina Panthers are
Who would have
coming
thought?
back. What
Who would
the
have
hell?
thought? This
What the hell?
podcast has been telling you for 6 weeks that Carolina's coming.
Oh, we have, yes, sir. People who watch, y'all know me and Unc have been telling you about, Bryce Young, Rico Dowdle, that defense that takes away a lot of
We've
football's
talked about the
interceptions.
Panthers several times
Yes, sir.
in the last 4 weeks, especially.
Absolutely. By the way, like the stream, best way to support us. Unc, what were your thoughts about this crazy game? Good Thursday night game. You know what I mean? Yeah.
To be honest with you, for this time of year,
Mm,
it's absolutely par for the course for the NFC South.
right.
My comments on this is that like it was a silly NFC South game, but par for the
Yes.
course for this type of this time of the year. Yeah,
Hmm.
just like if somebody had like if I messed up on this, man. I had the Bucks winning this game and covering right by 4.5 points.
Right,
I did
right.
not realize that they were actually going with Kirk Cousins because anybody knows
Yeah.
that Kirk Cousins in the Bucks, it's like it's an aerial show. He plays out of his head. As long as
Yeah.
you can keep Kirk Cousins standing up, like as long as you can protect him, he'll carve you
Right.
apart. At this stage in his
Right.
career, like there's nothing he hasn't seen just about, and he will
Right.
carve you up, and he did. It's crazy,
That
man.
is
The guy went 30 for 44,
right.
373 yards, 3 TDs, all to Kyle Pittman, right? And
Yes. Hold the
it was
confidence.
so obvious that he figured
Oh,
out something on the right side of the field. Like one of
yes, sir.
the corners or the safeties on the right side of the field was soft. Cousins
Yes.
picked up on it, and it was just pass after pass after pass off right to Kyle Pitts. And so,
Just the
yeah, Kyle
confidence.
Pitts blew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what he does once or twice a year to keep the candle alive with the Kyle Pitts truthers. But man, what
Tell,
a
tell,
game!
tell,
A
tell us
real
fantasy owners who try to draft Kyle Pitts high. Oh my God. Imagine finally this pays off literally at the end of the season.
right,
Um,
and you're not
yeah,
competitive
crazy.
because you've had this big soft spot in your tight end position all year.
Preach,
Um,
preach.
Kyle's coming. Kyle's coming. And he blew
Yeah.
up and had a great game. So it was basically pitch and catch
Yeah.
with Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins. But there were a lot of other guys getting catches too. So good night out for Atlanta. Terrible, terrible night for Bubba Mayfield, right?
Oh,
19
yeah.
for 34, 5 sacks, one
Yeah.
brutal pick at the end of the game.
It was very bad.
um,
Yeah.
277, 2 TDs, right? But just
Mm,
very, very mediocre performance from Mr. Mayfield. So that wasn't good. Now, here's
right.
the next thing, right? And this is why I call this a silly game. The
Mm.
Falcons gave up 19 penalties. They
Yes.
committed more. Only 19 were
Yes, they
accepted.
did.
for
Right.
125 yards. That is the entire
Mm.
length of the football field and another
Yeah.
quarter again. That's like a touchdown. You're not supposed to
Straight
do
up.
that. That is extremely undisciplined, and that's a reflection on Raheem Morris, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
Atlanta simply outperformed Tampa Bay on offense. That's really what it was in a game where zero defense was actually played. Right.
None. None. None.
Mike Evans returned, right? That was nice.
Yes.
6 for 132.
Mm.
Kyle Pitts, like we said, 11 for 166 and three TDs. But Tampa Bay was up by 14 points in the fourth quarter and failed to wrap
Yes.
it up at home versus a division rival that, I'm sorry, has, in my opinion, has no chance at the division title, right?
Yeah,
So,
I agree. Mm.
to me, this was a silly game that
Hmm.
just defied all expectations and just rack it up to Kirko Chains, man. He's just having a night.
You're absolutely right, man. I did not expect Atlanta to show up. Obviously, I didn't expect Kyle Pitts to show up. Drake London, here's the crazy part. Drake London wasn't even in the game. Their
Nope.
best receiver, I'm talking about the Atlanta Falcons, best receiver was not even in the game, and they
Nope.
won. You said something that I was going to bring up. Great minds think alike. The penalties that the Falcons they almost killed themselves by penalties. You know what I mean? So it goes to show when it's a divisional game, it just hits different, man. Any team is viable. Let's
Yep.
talk. We could briefly even talk about the Ravens and the Steelers. You know what I mean? Not on our schedule, but F it, we'll talk about it. The Ravens with a major collapse, and the Steelers. I'm gonna give you your respect, Unc. Steelers won that game. What are our quick hits, our quick thoughts about that game? Obviously, it's the divisional 27-22. Unc, what are your quick hits on this one? You know what I mean?
Well, huge relief for me as a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Probably big relief for Tomlin after that week of pressure. And you notice all that
He blew, he
conversation
blew,
sort of.
he blew a kiss. He blew a kiss to the haters.
Oh,
You
did he?
saw that?
I
Yeah,
missed
he blew a
that.
kiss at the end of the game. At the end of the game, he went directly to a camera and he blew a kiss. So it's almost like a shady way of saying, look at me, look at what y'all,
Oh
you're not
yeah.
getting that noise. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like, well, Tomlin's always had a prickly relationship with the press. I mean, he just doesn't
Yeah.
like talking. He feels everything's taken out of context. His words are
Right.
always very, very tightly clipped. So a gesture, oh, there it is too, man. So a gesture like that is clearly pointed, right? But
Yeah.
like, he's a man of few words. So just yeah, as a fan, I was extremely relieved.
Right.
To be honest, it was the result I was expecting, just simply because of the nature of rivalry games like that this time of year and just whatever.
Right.
It's just how it goes.
You're right.
Yeah, it was the Steelers' turn to sort of like have a couple things bounce their way, etc. So it was just a very satisfying result for me, and I'm sure the opposite was true for you.
Oh, oh man, it was not a satisfying result for your boy, but I will again give credit where credit is due. DK Metcalf showed up, and especially on deep field receptions. To start even the game, Aaron Rodgers got just found him on a seam, just 9 play
Yep.
run. Go, boom, launched it, showing you that that old man. Yes, we're gonna talk about another old man later. The old man still has that cannon on him. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers, and DK can make some plays. So then
Well,
it came back and came down to the fourth quarter, like a lot of Ravens Steelers game come down to, and
yep.
it was about the offense. I'm talking about the Ravens offense. It's crazy
Hmm.
how the script has flipped, right? Beginning of the season, the Ravens had a crazy explosive offense, right? And it was the defense that was letting them down. Now it's
Yep.
you're talking about the offense cannot get in the end zone. I was happy to see Lamar run some
Hmm.
carries, but when you have a dog poop, I'm trying to watch my words, tackle like Daniel Falele, a horrible offensive line where every 3 seconds, not even less than three, probably 2 seconds, you have a Steeler in front of your eyes. It's hard to throw the ball in rhythm and time. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. The Steelers' defensive line was so dominant. and it caused a lot of havoc, especially in that fourth quarter. So, as you expect, Ravens and Steelers, defense matters, and defense won the
Yeah.
game. Credit to the
Yeah.
Steelers. You know what I mean?
You knew it was going to be a slobber knocker. That's just how it goes, right? It wasn't pretty.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't pleasant to watch or whatever, unless you were a Steelers or a Ravens fan,
Unless you're a
right?
Steelers fan. Yeah, I mean, but we're gonna meet again. We're gonna meet again before the season ends. We're gonna see,
That's it.
and that might actually be for the division, but we'll see about that. By the way, people coming in the building, we would love if y'all like the stream, share the stream, get in the chat, let us know your thoughts. We love interacting with the chat. Ain't nobody bigger than the chat. Just know that. You know what I mean? Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir. One thing that really shocked me, and it's literally the title of our show, Jalen Hurts. The Philly fans, sounds nuts. It sounds absolutely crazy. They are even discussing, not Philly fans, my mistake. Philadelphia sports media is discussing benching. I know it sounds nuts. Benching Jalen Hurts after his, let's keep it real, his worst performance of his entire career. Five
Hmm.
picks. I think it was two passing touchdowns. We're talking about their loss. Huge, huge loss because it affects a lot of the
Yeah.
playoff,
Yeah. Big loss.
Huge overtime loss, 22-19 to the Chargers. He didn't score a touchdown, by the way. Jalen Hurts, I was wrong. Justin Herbert looking like the second coming of Walter Payton, man, just literally running that rock with a broken hand.
Hmm.
It was so impressive.
He was
But
the
in
leading
general,
rusher on the team.
yes, he was 10 carries for 66 yards. Chargers surprising everybody, bro. And Jalen Hurts, unfortunately, surprising everybody too. Unc, what are your thoughts, man? I think this might have been Jim Harbaugh's biggest win since he came back. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
That's amusing about the Philadelphia media, but it's the fans too, man. I guarantee you that, like,
Mhm.
WFAN Philadelphia, right, is just like on fire with like
Mhm.
with cry Eagles cry, right?
Yeah.
um, and rightly so, man. Like, what an irritating team this is, right? Like, that's crazy. Your
Nuts.
defense holds the other team to 22 points, and an offense like that can't pull out the win. Like, come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
give Harbaugh his credit for for the win. Like, that was some tough stuff, right? And they pulled it out. They
Yeah.
did it. They stuck to their game plan, and,
Mhm.
and 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 just yeah, like, talk about gutting out a win. That was definitely
Right.
Herbert. How sustainable it is going forward, heavens knows, but they keep racking up the wins in the same way that Philly's now like racking up the L's. Like, that's three in a row for them, right?
Three
So,
losses, yeah.
and it's another ridiculous loss, right?
Really
But you
bad.
can't blame the defense, right? Two forced fumbles,
No.
one interception, 7 sacks. Like,
They were all up on Justin Herbert, man. He was getting abused. I was like, how are you still upright, man? You have a
can you
broken
imagine if
hand.
he didn't
You're
run for
like,
66 yards?
oh,
Like,
oh, it would have been done. It would have been over. And I don't think some of those runs were designed. I think he improvised. A
no,
lot
he
of
was
them.
scrambling
I
his
think
ass off.
he probably, yeah, he had to.
No, he
Yeah,
generally
running too
does
fast.
not. They
Yeah,
don't. He's capable of running, but they don't really
yeah,
have like design packages for him,
no.
except in exceptional circumstances. Because why? The guy's like six
Why?
five or whatever it is. He's like Big Ben. Like, you don't need. You can try to sack him, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they did. They
he's
succeeded
he's
this night,
hard.
right? But a lot of
He's
times
hard
he
to put
leaves
down.
guys
Yeah,
like hanging off of him while he just like
yeah, yeah.
So
I was
so
impressed by his performance. Yeah.
so ultimately, though, we come down to the Eagles offense, and specifically Jalen Hurts, after a
Yeah.
night like that. My goodness. But you know that
Mhm.
saying, right? Like, if you keep playing for field goals, eventually you're going to lose. And that's what happened. Look at the box score. The first
Okay.
three scoring drives by the Eagles, they were all field goals.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
not good. And Barkley turned all of Main Street media into liars, right? Like, he finally had like a second or third on the season breakaway touchdown, where he ran the field 55 yards or something like that. But he had
Right.
17 of those last year, where he broke
Yes.
for like 25 yards or longer for the end zone.
That's a
So
fact.
good to see that from Barkley, but again, it's not enough. Hey, you want to know a funny thing too, man, about the multiple sacks on Herbert? I
Yeah,
have
talk
I
to me.
found an LOL stat on this. Herbert is 3-0 in games in which he sacked 6 or more times. So
What? So he wins
he
when he's getting
wins.
hit?
Like,
Oh
how
wow,
improbable is that, right? Like,
that
so
is weird.
that's kind of rocks though, man. Like, guy
Yeah,
could
yeah.
he's like that old Timex commercial, man. The guy takes a licking and just keeps on ticking, right?
Straight up,
Um,
straight up.
so and the double turnover by Hurts. I mean, let's narrow this down.
Oh,
Let's narrow
yeah,
this down through the filter here. We've got
right.
offense. Wasn't Barkley. AJ got all his catches. AJ got
Yes, he
all,
did.
a whole bunch of yards again, but like, you know, but Jalen is the one defect in the offense that night on a game that they almost won. It should be noted. But
Yes,
yeah,
they were a good
only
defense. Yeah,
generated 19 points. Most of those points were field goals, not touchdowns.
right,
And he had 4 picks, which obviously is horrible, right? That's not going to win you very many football games.
right,
So yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. It's just it was an offensively inept night by the Philly offense, but more specifically by Jalen Hurts. And it's just
mm,
kind of crazy, right? Because you see what's
right.
possible with Hurts. Remember that third
Yeah,
and 16 where he threads the
yeah,
needle perfectly? Everybody was coo-cooing over that one play, like he'd played like that all game. But that's the whole thing. That's the conundrum. Where is that
mm,
all game? Why is it?
yeah.
And now the double turnover was hilarious, right?
Yeah.
First,
Oh my
first
God, I
the
remember
guy
that.
throws the pick, then the
Yep,
pick gets fumbled.
yep.
Man recovers his
Yes,
own
it. Yeah.
his own pick is now a fumble, but then he fumbles his fumble
Fumbles it
recovery
again.
and to
Yeah,
account for 2 turnovers in the space of 15 seconds off the clock. So comical days in
yeah.
Philly, who are now 8-5, who are in our top 5 at 8-2, like less than a month ago.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Crazy. And you know what's nuts about it is that Um, I probably should have put the title as 5 turnovers. It looked like he could have actually gotten 5 picks. I'm talking about how recklessly Jalen Hurts was throwing the ball. But brother, you don't have him throw the ball 40 times. That's not the recipe
It's
for the
not.
Eagles to win. You do not put it in his hands 40 times to throw it. And I think,
Eagles need to
I
be
think
balanced.
they need to be balanced, man. Complementary football. And I've noticed this every time AJ Brown has a big game, almost every time, the Eagles lose.
I
You know what I
pointed
mean?
that out to you. I pointed that out to you on the
Yes, you
weekend,
did.
man. Like 3
Yeah.
games in a row, like the offense has flowed through him, and they've
Yes.
lost,
They've
right?
lost.
So
Yes.
there
And he's
needs to
responsible
be
for one of the
balance.
interceptions. Well, he's responsible
They,
for one of the interceptions. He had a ball. I'm gonna say this. Jalen Hurts threw it too high. That's fair. He
yeah,
goes to try to catch it. It falls out of his hand and directly into a Charger's hand. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
That's
if
right.
it wasn't for the Eagles defense being very strong, you know what I mean? This could have been a blowout. You throw
Hmm.
4 picks, fumble, you are supposed to get destroyed. But the
Yep.
Eagles kept them into the overtime where it looked like the Eagles were
Hmm.
coming back. And then I'm
Don't
gonna
blame
say
the
this straight
defense.
up.
Like I said, don't
No,
blame the defense, man. They did their
their
part.
defense. And I'm telling you this, the Chargers defense, a credit to them, they took advantage of those turnovers. Obviously,
Yeah,
that Tony Jefferson one to close out the game, that was clutch. The Chargers have quite as kept a very tough schedule to end the season.
yeah.
And I think the Chargers, they got to watch their ass, man. But this was a huge, huge win for Jim Harbaugh. So much so that he compared it to the birth of some of his kids. I'm like, brother, what? You
It
know?
was a
But hey,
quality
fair
win.
play. It was a
It was a quality
amazing win.
win
Yeah,
for his program, right? That was a
absolutely.
quality win, the necessary win. And when they make the playoffs, they will look back at that regular season win and say to themselves, boy, that helped. I have a feeling,
Yes.
spoiler alert,
Yeah.
that they're going to have
Talk to
similar
me.
luck today of going against
Oh,
the Chiefs, right? Now,
oh,
yeah, Chargers have earned everything that they have this year,
yes,
right?
yes.
like their offensive line, which was expected to be very strong, and it certainly was before Joe Alt went out.
Mm,
So they've had to, binding wire and patching, duct tape and stuff like to try to get something out of the offensive line. And we saw those struggles with
yes,
Herbert,
yes, we did.
getting sacked so often. So for them to continue to rack up wins, right? They're 9-4 under that type of duress is a real credit to the San Diego Chargers defense, which is playing lights out right now.
Oh,
Khalil Mack leading the way.
yes, that defense it's paying dividends because the Jim wants to run the rock, but if you run the rock,
Can't.
you must have a good defense to balance it out, and that defense is playing really, really great football. And you kind of said it earlier today, and I'm gonna bring it up a little bit, but we're gonna leave some also on the back end. Uh, Houston Texans beat Kansas City, and the Bengals lose to Buffalo in a very entertaining game to
Oh,
watch.
what a
And you
game.
talked about it even earlier, the Steelers beating the Ravens. You have a situation here, and we talked about this slightly where Mahomes is out of the playoffs as of today, as of now. Lamar Jackson is out of the playoffs as of right now, and you have obviously Joe Burrow out of the playoffs. Joe Burrow was damn near talking about retirement on the podium a few days ago. That's how bad his
Cincinnati.
team got whooped. Cincinnati,
Cincinnati is
crazy.
formally and now officially on alert. They are on Joe
Oh,
Burrow alert. And if they don't address that situation immediately, there's going to be
yeah.
problems. And hey,
I
this
don't blame him.
pod, this
Yeah,
pod, didn't I say that? It's funny. I said that last week on this pod. I was joking. I said the
right.
Steelers need to make Cincinnati an offer they can't refuse, right? Because they'll never trade within the division unless it's an offer they can't refuse. And I said
Yeah,
Steelers need to get somebody like Joe Burrow to just finally put all their problems to bed at quarterback, right? And here we are, that very
yeah.
Sunday. We see Joe Burrow saying, "There ain't no fun around here no more." He's such a moody
Same, man.
prick, isn't he?
I mean, you know what it is? I've always hated Joe Burrow, man. He's a bitch,
Really?
but it is what it is. He's a great football player. I'm gonna give him his respect. But
Mm.
brother, you're getting paid. I hate to say it. These are champagne limousine problems, bro. You're getting
Yeah.
paid like $55 million a year to half of the time sit on a bench and watch Browning, Joe Flacco, or some other guy play. You are
And
not
he's
playing
from
most of your
Ohio.
games. You're from Ohio. You're
You think,
in
you think
state. Like
the
what do you
easiest,
have everything set up? You
it's
know?
the
Crazy.
easiest job. It's the easiest gig in football. All
Oh
he
my
has to
god.
do is like sit back and collect paychecks. But like I said last week, Joe Burrow's a gamer. He wants to
Yeah.
win, and he's pissed off when he doesn't, right? He's like the slow
Yeah.
burn all the time. And
And we've
so
seen this
I give him
before, by the
respect,
way.
man. I give him
Yeah. Yeah.
respect. And
We yeah.
like you said, champagne problems, but these guys all want to win, man. It's how they got where they
Yeah.
are.
I just want to say this. We've seen this before, by the way. An individual called Andrew Luck, who's actually younger than their starting quarterback today.
Yes, good point.
Andrew Luck was getting so abused by
Yep.
his offensive line. I think it was Chris Ballard was still the GM at that time. He's still the GM now. Freaking horrible. Should be fired. Regardless of that, great young quarterback could not last on the field and decided to retire at a young age and obviously screwed over the Colts. If the
Hmm.
Bengals do not figure out this Joe Burrow situation very quickly, I'm not saying he'll retire, but he'd ask for a trade. So the
Oh
Steelers,
yeah.
he'd ask for a trade very quickly because losing, and let me be very clear, losing to Buffalo in such a winnable game, very
Hmm.
winnable for the Bengals, was a horrible look. Now, obviously, the pick, the interception to close out the game was bad. But Unc, what are your quick hits, quick thoughts on a Joe Burrow, no Lamar, no Mahomes playoffs, and a ton of new younger guys in the playoffs coming up? Unc, let me know.
Yeah, kind of a changing of the guard when you look at it. When you draw
Right,
back and look at it with the bird's eye view, for sure. Um,
right.
well, and also too, like this situation's probably all going to get resolved today, right? Because if the Ravens beat the Bengals, then the Bengals are out of the question, right? If the Bengals
Yeah.
beat the Ravens today, then the Ravens are out, and the Bengals are still on a fast track to nowhere. It makes them what, fucking 5-9, right?
Yeah,
Right. And
true that.
so, and if the Chiefs lose to the Chargers today, then all of this
Over.
entire question is moot.
Yeah, you're
Right.
right.
And if the Chiefs beat the Chargers today, it still barely keeps them alive. They're on life support. Like, it's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah, like the numbers are pretty locked in the AFC playoff ladder, right? That, like, the Chargers
Yes.
are the number 5 ranked team out of the 7,
Right.
right? So they're the
Right.
number 1 wild card team. At 9-4, they currently have a 72% chance of making the playoff. If they
Mm,
lose today, they still have a 63% chance of making the playoff. If
wow.
they win today, they have a 93% chance, right? And
Wow.
every and the guys behind them, right?
Mm.
Like sorry, the guys behind them in 6 and 7 are like pretty locked in, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah, like behind them,
it's
we have the Colts out of the playoffs right now. Baltimore out of the playoffs. I think Houston is still in as a wild card.
right,
Buffalo is in as a wild card too. So I'm seeing this in front of me right here.
right.
Wild
Like
card,
Houston for
Chargers,
sure is
Buffalo,
locked
and
in
Houston.
there.
I think so.
Houston's locked in as a wild card, either them or the Jags.
Yeah, yeah. Jags are actually top of the division, so they're 9-4, top of the
Right,
division.
right. Pardon me. So one of those two teams will definitely occupy that spot, is
Oh,
what I'm getting
absolutely,
at.
absolutely. Yes,
And
yes, they will. Yes, they
right,
will.
and then the Chargers, right? So, like,
Chargers, right?
between the AFC West and the AFC South, like,
Right.
those are your wild card spots right there, man. I don't see the AFC East or the AFC North providing a second team.
I don't see that either, but I can see some spoilers. I'm saying when I say spoilers, I'm saying that if Buffalo wins today, which is very possible, they could spoil some things for New England. I could see some spoilers even with Miami. Keeping it real. Miami's on a 4-game win streak. They're gonna face, I think, Buffalo close to the end of the season. They could cause some spoilers for some people. So that's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. They're pretty set. I'm talking about the AFC conference. It looks pretty set to
Mhm.
me. But it should
I
be
suppose I'm
interesting
not
how it
being fair
plays
to
out in the end.
Buffalo. Buffalo's in there too with the Chargers.
Yes, they are.
In
Yes, they are.
right, so I'm not being fair to Buffalo. So the AFC East could give us two teams. That is plausible. But
Yeah.
again, spoiler alert, man. I'm pretty sure the Pats handled business at home today.
Hey, I like that. I like that. What team that did handle business, and I really did not expect it. Right? I was rolling high. I guess I was rolling high on that Chicago vibe. You know what I mean? I was feeling Chi-Town, but Chi-Town was looking not very Chicago
Nope.
because Green Bay, the Packers, yes, they said, we ain't playing no more with a
Yeah,
very
no, Packers
dominant
showed up, man.
28-21 win versus Chicago. Chicago crazy. Chicago went from the number 1 overall seed to, like, I think they're the 7th seed now in one
Yeah.
game. It shows you
Oh
how
man, but we
critical
called
these
it,
games
man.
are.
We
Yeah,
called it
we
here
saw
on the
in the
pod. We
mirage.
said, okay, we grudgingly gave them a number 5 in the top 5
Yeah,
lot because how could you deny them, right? Like they had the
yeah.
numbers, but their points for, points against, as we pointed out, was like +5,
It
right?
was weird.
So,
It
like,
was
that's a
weird.
500 team by most stretches, right? And so
Yeah,
they've been
man.
playing above their heads, and so we kind of said this thing is shaky as f, right?
Mhm.
And we looked, we had another eye askance, right?
That's
Like
right.
in the honorable mention category for Green Bay, and we said we'll
We
figure out
did.
which
We
one of
did
these
talk
is
honorable mention.
actually the honorable mention next week, because
Yes,
Green
sir.
Bay's points for, points against is like +5, like,
They're
per
they're pretty
game.
they're pretty they're pretty they're surprisingly very even as well. They're similar
No,
to
no, no, no,
Chicago.
no. There's
That's
about a 75 points for, points against gap for
oh,
in
oh,
Green
so they're
Bay's
more on the
favor.
positive? Oh, okay,
Yes.
my bad.
Green
My
Bay
bad,
wins
my
their
bad.
games
Because I
on
think
average by 5.5 plus points a game.
okay, okay, okay. That's my bad because I thought Green Bay was teetering in the middle too with their win.
No, no, no.
Okay.
They are much more solid looking they're more decisive looking than is Chicago if you look at the points for and points against. Yes.
I will give them this credit. Their guy, Christian Watson, looked like Jerry Rice out there, man.
What
Like,
a
what the
difference.
hell?
That's the difference in
Dominating.
the team right now. That is the difference
Yeah.
in the team right now. That's in my notes here. That's the difference in the team right now is that like when Tucker Kraft went down, that caused a bit of a
Yeah.
crisis of identity, right? And there's
Yeah.
so many of the different receivers sort of around. For a while there was a 2 or 3 game stretch there where Christian Watson was performing significantly. His yards per catch was under 10, right?
Wow.
And now all of a sudden he's back to his usual form, getting that like
Mhm.
plus 20, plus 22 yards per catch average, right?
Oh
Four
my
catches for
God. Yeah.
88 yards, 4 catches for 80 the week before, scoring
Mhm.
touchdowns. That run around the
Yes.
end, that catch and run around the end, like for a
That
touchdown, he
was
just
nice.
outran the defense. Like the man is
Yeah.
fast.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And we got to give credit where credit is due. Jordan Love. Sometimes he's hit and miss, but he was hitting some shit
He was
on the
hitting
fish the last week versus Chicago. And Chicago got exposed for something that, we maybe didn't chat about before. They give up a lot of big plays, man. You know what I
Yep.
mean? They might get the ball sometimes, but that defense can get caught. And you got a
They're one of the
situation that
worst
Caleb
run
Williams
now.
is doing. Yeah.
They're one of the worst run defenses, and we saw Josh
Very bad.
Jacobs looking like he'd been
Yeah.
recovered from everything. He was rumbling through them. He was gashing them, right?
Yes,
But
he
yeah,
was.
Jordan Love was 17 for 25, 234, TDs, only one takeaway, right? Which we noted last week is one of Chicago's strong points is that they get a lot of takeaways, but that's the masking tape.
Yes,
Right,
it is.
that's the
Yeah.
masking tape on their defense is that they get enough takeaways that you don't really notice how bad their defensive line is against the run, for example, and their
Absolutely.
corners
And
can be had.
that's what I'm saying. That they can definitely be had. And keep in mind, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Detroit is looking in the rearview mirror, man. Like, hey, you better watch your head because if you mess up or lose some games, Detroit could still have a chance to take the division. So it's going to be a race to the
Big
end
win last week.
to see. That's a massive win last week to see who's going to take the crown in the NFC North.
Yeah,
But I'm going to tell you somebody who is going north, who's now the future starter of the Cleveland Browns. Yes, we're talking about the
yeah,
Cleveland Browns in December. It's weird. I don't know, but we're talking about it because this man, Shador Sanders, and I'm a Shador guy, man. I don't
yep.
care. He
From
went
day
off
one, it should
for
be noted. From day
oh, Dave,
one, when you first
telling
started
you,
talking about him
thank you,
3 years ago, you
thank you,
started talking
man.
about him 3 years ago, talking about
Yes,
he's
I
going to
did.
be, number one draft, all the stuff that we were hearing about in the spring, right? And I remember at
Yes,
the
I
time
did.
saying to myself, we'll see, because
Mm,
all the things that have been noted about him, like I noted at the same time back then too, right? Son of Deion
right,
Sanders, very privileged. His father's lifted him up and supported him, all the way, which is
right.
awesome if you can do
Yeah,
it,
well,
right?
that's good. That's a good thing. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, stop
Your
talking
father
about
should
this like it's a
support you.
bad thing, right? But
Thank
anyways,
you.
I was still, holding in reserve
Yeah,
my
you're a little,
opinion
yeah, no, it's
because
fair.
I said
Mm,
we'll eventually find out. Like once his dad is completely out of the picture, we'll find out if
yeah,
this guy is for real. And look, listen, he acquitted himself well at a D1 program at Colorado. Who cares who the
right,
coach was? Right? Like he did
right.
it. So we know he has the capacity to perform and that
Thank
he's a
you.
gamer, right? Because he's a
Yeah,
Sanders, right? And man, he is finally like out of his father's shadow completely. And he is
yeah,
proving to be what you promised that he would be. And I was dubious about, but I'm now convinced of, is that
yeah,
yes, he is not the greatest talent out there, but he's a Sanders. So he's a gamer and he's
yeah,
competent enough to put up 23 for 42, 364 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception, 2 sacks. Like these are not shoot 'em out numbers, but they're pretty impressive overall as a body of work, right?
yes, sir.
He
Yes,
had a
sir.
rushing He was 3 for 29 with a TD rushing. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the guy accounted for what, 4 TDs in total?
Four
Like,
TDs, almost 100 yards
like
of 400 yards of total offense.
this is
That's
production.
really good. That's productive. Yes.
And then to have Stefanski,
Mm.
the hater, pull him out on the 2 point play. Like Stefanski, I'm really starting to wonder about Stefanski. Like, what a
Man,
PhD, man.
It was really bad. Stefanski, you had a chance to let your quarterback, who's on fire, by the way, in the second half, Shador was on fire. You have to go with
Us.
a hot hand. And that's where sometimes, I have my conspiracy theories. You know me, I'm a conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
Some of these coaches are secretly told to tank for a high draft pick. And if the Cleveland Browns are dumb enough, if they're dumb enough to like draft somebody like Mendoza next year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
draft some high performing quarterback, that would be so stupid. They have so many
Listen to
things to
me.
pick. Stick to
You,
Shador Sanders. And you know what, Cleveland? Huh, you better start getting Deshaun the hell out of there because Deshaun has not had a good as game as Shador had last season.
nah,
In
man.
his whole
Listen.
Cleveland career, Deshaun Watson has not had a better game than than Shador had last week. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, and Deshaun's like on his way out, anyways, just
Yeah, he's
for
on his way.
moral
He's a
issues of
pervert. He's a
moral
weirdo.
turpitude, right?
Yeah.
But
He's
regardless of
weird.
that, listen, you have your conspiracy theories about tanking and stuff like that. I have my
Yeah.
conspiracy theory here, my opinion, I'll just call it,
Talk
right?
to me. Talk
I
to me.
like, I think
Yeah.
Stefanski is a PhD, player hating
Mhm.
dickhead, right? Like that's what's up, right?
Facts
Stefanski
though. You're right.
clearly
Oh,
does not like Shador Sanders. And I
he
get it.
doesn't.
I understand. I just discussed all the reasons why I was dubious, right? But you're a
Right.
professional football coach. If anybody in the room should know what's up with this quarterback and what he brings to the table, by now it should be you, right? Your
Yeah.
ability to
Yeah.
change your mind is a sign of intelligence, right?
Thank you.
It's not
Thank you.
failure. And Stefanski seems to have a biased opinion of what he has with this young man. And this
Right.
young man keeps embarrassing him in public. He could put himself out of misery by putting his arm around the guy at the press conference and putting a
Thank
big
you.
kiss on his forehead, right? Like really making a show of like,
Yeah.
man, I was wrong. This kid's great. He's awesome, right? The whole team would rally around that. Instead,
Yes, they
this
would.
guy's putting out rumors that maybe it's time to move on. I haven't really
Oh
accomplished
my
everything
God.
here in Cleveland. Give me a break. You're fucking like 11 games under 500 as a Cleveland coach
Yeah.
over 3 years, right? Like,
So
that's
bad.
pretty impressive for Cleveland.
Right. I'm thinking for me, my thing is Stefanski, I think he won Coach of the Year twice, right?
He
And he's
has.
so he's able to be a good coach. I
He
think it's
just
something going on
refuses
in
to
that locker room.
recognize that Shador is his man for the moment. He was
Yeah,
wrong. Shador is Shador, and he doesn't
Shador is
want
a
to
starter.
accept it. And
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just
nah,
a personal bias. Like it can't be. I don't think it can be racial. Like not as a coach in the
I don't think it's
NFL. Like,
racial. I don't
pardon
think it's
me.
racial. I think it's personal. I think it's personal. I don't think it's
Yeah,
racial. I think
like
because in
I
the
don't either
NFL, he wants
because
to win.
Stefanski would
He
never
wants
have
to win.
gotten this far
Yeah.
most likely. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like coach of the year kind of talent. Like you've got to get along with
Yeah.
people. There's just simply no way that you'd be outed sooner
Right.
or later. But what I do think is that there is a similar type of bias, but it's
Mhm.
against like the famous pedigree. Like
Mhm.
he's just one of these guys who just didn't like Sanders. Like Stefanski's probably like my age, a little younger. Like he probably just
Yeah.
grew up just not liking Dion. He doesn't like Dion, right? And he looks at the whole
Right.
thing. But I
It
think
could be.
that's just
You're
I
right.
think that's out
You're
of
right.
line, and I'm going to make
Yeah.
the argument for why it's out of line. I would like to
Talk to
take a
me.
look at some people like
Mm,
Sanders, right? Because we discussed this before, right?
we did.
People of privilege do what they can to promote their offspring, right? We see it at
Mhm.
white shoe law firms all over America and Canada, right? They're
Right.
filled full of guys who are second, third, fourth, fifth generation lawyers that all went to the best schools, paid for with educations from their parents. Like that's
Right.
what you do, right? We all do.
Yeah, of
We
course.
all want better for our children than we had for ourselves, right?
Of course.
So let's take a look at some others because Shador Sanders is not alone in the slightest in this, right?
No.
The most obvious
No.
example are the Mannings, right? Their
Of
father
course.
was a quarterback at New Orleans. Did you
Right.
know that CMC McCaffrey, his father
Thank
Ed,
you.
was a wide receiver for the Broncos,
Tight
right?
end. Yeah. Ed McCaffrey and Christian McCaffrey, and also McCaffrey's brother. is
right?
in the league. I think he plays for Washington Commanders.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Pat
Yeah.
Sertan.
So,
Pat Sertan and his
mm,
father, right?
yes, sir.
Even Burrow. We were talking about Burrow. Like
Mm-hmm.
his dad Jimmy played 1 year for the Packers as a defensive back, and then went to the CFL and
Oh,
played until about 1980. Right?
nice. Wow, I
Burrow
didn't know
wasn't
that.
even born until when? Like
Wow, that's crazy.
this guy didn't even father Joe Burrow until he was retired for 5 years, probably.
So Joe
Um,
Burrow's a rich kid. He's a privileged rich kid, basically. Is that what it
okay,
is?
yeah, right. And
And
so
they go off
it,
and Shador.
let's
Are
try
you
another
serious?
one. Yeah, let's try another one. Michael
Yeah.
Pittman. Right? His father, Michael
Mm,
Pittman Sr., was a running back for Arizona, the Bucks, the Broncos. Man, Pittman's a wide receiver for the Colts. Grew up in California, went to all the best rich prep schools, all that stuff, right?
oh,
Like, right? And
oh,
we haven't
so
even
you,
got to Marvin Harrison Jr. yet.
yeah,
And
you're right.
the other one, what about Howie Long's son? Chris Long,
That's
right? Howie Long had the almost identical career arc to Neon Dion, but different personality type, right?
right,
So,
right, exactly,
nevertheless,
exactly.
he had every advantage for Chris, right? And here's the
Mhm,
best one, right? Ted
mm.
Karras. Ted Karras is like he's like Ted Karras the third because
Okay,
his father played the 1987 season. He got drafted, but he only played one season. I forget for who. But his
right.
grandfather and grand uncle, I think, played in the NFL. Ted Sr.
Oh,
won a Super Bowl for the Bears in like the 30s and 40s. So like
wow.
there's lots of guys in the NFL that are like
Right.
second and third generation, even third generation players, just like you see in privilege everywhere in America.
Mm,
Money creates
mm,
legacy and opportunity for your children. It is not a sin. It is something to be lauded, right? Because this
of
is the
course.
next thing, right? This is the next thing that irritates me is that we
Right,
spend
right.
so much time when it comes to African American athletes. Oh, the
Of course.
mother. Oh, it's raised by a single mother. It's all poverty porn, right?
Yes, it is, bro. Shit.
So here
Yeah,
comes
thank
here
you.
comes guys like Dion and Pittman and all these guys. Like, of course they did exactly like every lawyer, businessman, engineer, anybody with generational wealth in America does. Is that they
Yeah.
try to make the path for their child as easy as possible in that
Mhm.
same field if the child wants to do so, right?
Yes. Yes.
Why wouldn't you? I would do it for my son,
Of course. Of course. Any good parent wants the
right?
younger generation to have it easier and better and get more
So
opportunities.
here's
So why
Neon
wouldn't
Dion.
they? I think the
Here's
Dion,
Neon
yeah,
Dion, right? Big
right.
fancy guy, right? Da 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 da.
Hmm.
We have the
Yeah.
the stereotype of the absent father in African American families and whatnot. Now
Right.
there is prevalence of it, but it's not especially
It's
higher than the rest of the
overstated.
nation or anything like that,
Yeah,
right? So
of
here's
course.
Dion. Dion fought for custody of his children, right? So many men don't even
Mm.
do that, right? He fought for
Yeah.
custody of his children. He got sole custody of his two boys and shared custody of his daughter, right? So here's
Right.
a man committed to his family, committed to their development. He's involved to the maximum, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Right? So like instead of celebrating this and like
Yeah,
they don't
man.
they want to hate on it and they want
They
to
want
act
to
like
hate.
they want their stereotype of the absentee father. Some of these people, I swear to goodness, I don't know where else this hatred comes from.
I think it's also, I'm being honest, it's maybe I think it's some of the attitude of Deion Sanders, but think about it like this. Deion Sanders is literally he's in maybe the top five greatest players, period.
He
So
is
his
a
ego
genius
kind of made a ton
individual.
of sense. You know what I mean? His ego makes a ton of sense. And sometimes Shador, this is my criticism for Shador, sometimes his attitude does not match his production. You know what I mean? So he
Sure,
needs to sometimes be a little more humble how he comes off.
that's
Because
right.
let me give you an example, right? The Titans are horrible, brother. You know what I mean? And they got the number one pick,
This
Cam
is the
Ward.
buried
And
lead of this whole story is that Cleveland lost
yeah,
this game to
and
the
Cleveland lost his
worst team
game.
in the league by a long shot.
by a long shot. You know, and think about it like this. They won the game, and I'm just gonna keep it real. Cam Ward is not it, man. I don't know. Maybe it's the rookie. He's who the better quarterback that day was Shador Sanders,
Yeah.
and
Well,
the
I think
Titans had the
Cam Ward
chance to
is
get him.
I think Cam Ward
Yeah.
is silky and slippery. I think he's going to be a superstar
Oh,
one
you
day,
think
but
so?
he
Okay.
needs way better tools, man.
That too, that too. That's a fair point, but he didn't look that good. In other words, what I'm saying here is that
I
had
think he's
Shador,
getting tired and pissed off
okay, I'd be
as a
pissed too,
rookie.
man.
As a rookie.
Oh, he's feeling Joe Burrow vibes, I guess. You know what I
As
mean?
a rookie.
So yeah. My thing is when I'm looking at Shador, had he maybe had a better attitude or at least maybe been a bit more humbled in the draft process, we would be talking about him quarterbacking the
Yeah.
Titans or
Yeah.
another team, or maybe the
He
New Orleans Saints with another man quarterback in Tyler Shook, right? Or even
yeah.
the Giants. So I think he did mess up some parts, but your overall theory, your overall speech is correct. We should
Listen.
be encouraging
If
fathers to
Shador
take care of their sons, and we should
if
be encouraging
Shador
black
was
men
more
to,
mature,
yeah, right.
if Shador was more mature, it's almost like a
Okay,
song
boy, I
lyric.
see
If
you.
Shador were more mature and more
Mm,
polished in that regard, he wouldn't be a Sanders. like
that's fair point. Fair
just
point.
think,
That's
dude,
actually a fair
it,
point.
he would be a different person, and then we wouldn't love
Right.
him as much, right? So
Fair
it's
point.
just
Fair
the
point.
cross he has to bear that he comes from that type of charisma and he
Right.
doesn't quite have the talent to match it like his father did. Because, like I said,
That's
his father is one of these few people that we can accurately
oh,
call a genius in whatever, like their
oh,
chosen field.
yes.
They really
Yeah.
shoot the lights out like nobody else ever did before.
This man
And
incredible.
then to diversify into television,
Mhm.
into all these, and then into coaching for your son, like everything you
Right.
choose to do, you succeed at. Only geniuses really do that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add on to this. You want to see Shador's value? Look at the Colorado Buffs this year. The Colorado Buffaloes ran through like four different quarterbacks because they did not have a consistent guy in the pocket doing his thing. That shows you just the value of Shador as a quarterback. But
Whatever
when
you
he
want to say
leaves,
about that guy, he's an
everybody's bad.
overachiever.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why for me, I was sold on Shador. I'm like, give him the opportunities, give him the chances. They did, and I think Shador is going to play really well for the next few games left for Cleveland.
I think
Cleveland
so.
needs to smarten up. I think so. I
I'm
think he's going
now
to
a
be going
Shador
up.
believer, man.
Yeah, man. It's hey man. Let's see what
Took you
happens. That's
three
why we
years,
watch
but you
games, man.
got me here. Ha.
I got you. I got you. Join my side, Unc. I got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. I had a horrible season for fantasy football. It is what it is. It is what it is. But you
Hey,
know what?
man.
Let's see
It's
it.
like every season, buddy. You and I are going at it, hammer and tong. It's just on the
Yeah,
opposite end of the standings.
it's crazy, Unc. But guess what? We got people who watch us consistently
Yeah,
who
man.
maybe they want their fantasy starts and sits, who are angling for a playoff run, a championship run. Unc, what do you think? For me, my quick hits is play with the horses who got you here and
Yep.
always look at the hot hand. When they say hot hand, who is performing really well, who is injured, who is not, go with the hot hand. If somebody's been getting a lot of receptions, go with him. If somebody's getting a lot of
Well,
rush TDs, go with him and pick wisely. Look at the matchup. Unc,
that
what are
is
your hits
that.
for fantasy?
Man,
Mhm.
you basically summed up my whole thing here. That's
Excellent.
exactly correct. And it's a
Yeah.
bit of a delicate balance, right? Some people sometimes they get into the playoffs
Mm,
and like they don't necessarily stick with the guys who got them there, like you said, right? So play your
right.
studs. There are
Mm,
some exceptions to that. Like if somebody is
mm,
like noticeably cooling off and has been for a month, or if you've got like a lot of spaces to fill, or you have like some type of
right.
injury and whatnot. It's really it is important to stick with the guys who have been consistently good and don't just go with the flavor of the month because they've been
Mm,
good recently. Like this is certainly the worst time of the year to chase points. Now this is the
right.
exception to this because at the end of the year, there are players that are coming on. what people call like second half players, or rookies that struggled in the beginning of the year, but man, now they're getting it. Or a guy like
Right.
Omarion Hampton that was on injury reserve for 8 or 10 weeks after busting
Came
out in the
back.
first month. Well, he's
Right.
back, right? So you got to be aware of
Mm,
that. Mike Evans is another example of somebody, that been sitting around waiting for him to come back, and Lord have mercy, here he comes, right?
yes, he
So,
does. Yeah.
but this is another fantasy tip that not everybody pays attention to, because
Mm,
sometimes you get locked into a defense, special teams that you've fallen in love with. But just be
right.
careful with that and watch the matchups, right? Like
Yes.
Houston's got
Yes.
some tough matchups, good defense, tough matchups. Broncos the same, I'm
Mm,
pretty sure.
right.
So be careful of that. Some people stream defenses all the time, so they're always watching that anyways. But some people will
Right.
fall into a defense like I did with Texans this year, right? Where you're like, yeah, no, these guys are really good. Say,
Yeah.
Denver too, Seattle. But look at those.
Yes.
Make sure the matchups are favorable, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's one thing to be aware of. Be aware
Mm,
of guys coming down the stretch. Like I said, guys like Jalen Coker have been coming on. Like we've
mm,
been pushing it from the beginning of the year to watch for Coker,
yes,
but
sir.
Coker seems to love that second half of the season. Um,
Nice.
Now, another guy to watch, like I'm going to give you a couple examples now here, because what a
Mm,
thing, one process I have, excuse me, one process I have with this
mm. What's your
is to,
process?
yeah, excuse me here.
No, no.
One process I have with this is I will,
Right.
I did it this morning. You take the wide receiver, the running back, the tight end section of players, right? Or the
Right.
skills players, and you put them into a filter with every player in the
Mm,
league, right? And
yep.
you click on that button, show me the last 4 weeks of productivity. Now, of course, 80%
Mm,
of the people in those players are all on teams, but
of
look
course.
closely. See which guys are overperforming just in the last 4 weeks. And I'll give you an example of that. You realize that Kenneth Gainwell for the Steelers has 60 fantasy points in the last month?
Oh no, I didn't know that. Wow.
15
Okay.
points a game from Kenneth Gainwell. Sean
Wow.
Tucker is another one, 53 points in the last
Oh,
month. Now, now
mm,
he's ultimately going to fall off with Bucky Urban dominating, right? But
yeah.
if you have spaces to fill, right? Another guy,
Mm,
we mentioned Monangai last week. Monangai,
right.
48 points in the last 4 weeks. Seems obvious, right? He's only
Right.
66% rostered in like your average 10-player Yahoo league. So he's available in like
Oh,
35% of 10-player leagues, for example. And that number will go
wow.
down the larger your league. But Monangai is available in some places. Can you imagine that? um,
Wow.
wouldn't he look
Oh,
good, right? Another
you
guy
look
is
great.
Bam
Mm,
Knight. Bam Knight, along
yeah.
with Jacoby Brissett over there in Arizona, right? Bam Knight has 44 points in the last month. Blake
Yes.
Corum is another one
Underrated.
I've been telling people to pay attention to. Blake Corum has
Mm,
43 points in the last month. So these guys are all getting double-digit numbers over the last month, right? But you
right.
wouldn't
Right.
necessarily think of them in that regard,
Mm,
right? Another guy
mm,
who's just been fantastic is the guy Mark Wilson, also in Arizona. But he's
right.
snapped up. He's snapped up in most places, but
Mm,
he is peripherally available. Look around. I think he's like available in like 15 or 20% of leagues still. Like
okay. 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 I like
right.
that. I
So
like that. Yeah.
those are things to think of with the fantasy playoffs, but be very cautious about doing that, right? Just be
No.
cautious about substituting out players. But I'll give you an example from my experience. So I think it was
Mm,
2013. I had a
right. Right.
rocking season, man. I was crushing it in this two quarterback league,
Nice.
because it was the year of the killer bees, right? I had
Mm,
Brown and Bell, both right because they
okay.
came out of nowhere. So I had all kinds of points getting scored. I had like Peyton Manning at quarterback. I had that
Nice.
tight end that he had back there. I forget his name, but he was getting tons of. Anyways, the whole point is I was rocking, and I had stumbled
Mm,
into Arizona's defense, which was getting me double-digit points a week. And so I'm
wow.
like, play your studs, play your studs. Arizona bombed, got blown out in a game,
Oh,
and I lost
oh,
my playoff match to this insufferable
oh,
goon. and
oh.
but
I hate
simply
that.
because
I hate
my
that.
for the first time I got a negative number on defense. right? And once you start
Mm,
getting a negative number, it's just like, wow, it just
that
sucks the
ain't
life out of your team in the
good.
playoffs.
Yeah, it does.
So that can happen. So just be careful. Just be careful,
I'll
guys.
I'll say something that might sound controversial. See, the Colts are playing Seattle this week. I think Seattle's gonna win, obviously. But I'm gonna say this: if you have Seattle defense, I might
Be
bench them
careful.
this week. You know why? You know why? Because they've been on such a hot streak. It's bound to happen. You're right, Unc. Sometimes you can go on such a hot streak that sometimes you have to
You
switch it
get
up or
blinders.
make a change. So you might have blinders. There's guys out there who are soaring on sometimes might fail. It depends on the matchups. You have to watch the games and you have to make an analytical perspective saying, hey, I bench
Yep.
this person? What is the likelihood of somebody being benched? Something that I'm gonna say, Chargers, make sure that all of them are viable to this week. All of them. You know
Hmm.
why? Because they overperform when they play KC, man. They play a lot better. And that Kansas City defense can get caught. Any
Also,
other team, go ahead. Hmm. Yeah.
Chargers are 3-2 on the road this season.
There you go. There you go. These are the things you have to look for when you're doing your playoff prep. Make sure that you have also healthy guys. And you said
Yes.
something that's interesting. Have a handcuff. If you know a player is maybe has some nagging injury, have his backup. One guy
Yeah.
that I really like for that is this Bam Knight guy for Arizona, like you said. His the starting running back for Arizona is in and out of the lineup. I think Bam is also going to have a fantastic
I've
game
been I've been
this
telling
week.
CMC owners all year long, make sure
Right.
you've got Brian Robinson.
There you
CMC
go. There you
CMC
go.
was on the injury report.
That's exactly Unc. Have somebody who's in there just in case because you never know what's going to happen to your main guy getting you a ton of carries and points. CMC,
CMC is
we know
starting
about
this
him.
week. CMC is starting this week, but he was briefly on the injury report. Imagine if
Right.
CMC came up lame next week and you don't
Mm.
have Brian, because I guarantee you Brian Robinson Jr. is going to shoot the lights out if he gets that backfield to himself. He's going to do
Oh,
just like
absolutely.
CMC because it's a system
Yes, yes. It's a
and he has
system
the
that really
talent.
he definitely has the talent. And I'm telling you right now, just be careful. And this is what
Emmanuel
it is.
Wilson, we've mentioned many times too. Another guy, 40 points in the last month.
Facts, facts. And that's why again, we talk about matchups a lot. I put the fantasy football with the lines and spreads right next to each other for a reason. They flow into each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like a strategic reason I
And
set it up that way
I
because
love
they
talking
work a
lines and
lot.
spreads.
Let's talk about him some more, man. Let's talk about it some more. I need my boy Rob to come in the chat, man. He's my lines and spreads guy. I talk to him all the time about it.
No kidding,
But
huh?
I might send him this section of our talk. Unc, what do you like about here, man? What are your matchups? What are you circling on your sheet, brother?
A lot of big point spreads this week. A lot of big
Yes, they
point
are.
spreads, and
Yes, they
so
are. I see that.
that calls for underdogs usually. But it's
Mm,
really fascinating this time of year, man. Like the point spreads are they're essentially replications of the points for, points against, right?
yeah.
You see what I see? Like some teams
Yes, yeah.
they're on average winning by 5 points a week, right? The other team on average loses by like 2.5 points a week, and the fucking point spread's like 7. like it's like they're mailing it in this time of year, but it's resulted in some
Yeah,
very interesting spreads. Some of them are ugly too, man. Like weird games you
yeah,
don't want any part of. Like take for example this New York Jets at Jacksonville, right?
yeah. Philippines
Jacksonville
lose.
is 9-4 with a sterling 8-5 against the spread record, right? Pretty much tracks their winning record. So if they win a game, chances are they're going to cover, right? They're
Right.
playing the Jets at home. They should win, right? So they'll cover,
Absolutely.
right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Uh,
Jets are 3-10, but somehow 7-5-1 against the spread.
oh, I
And the
see.
Jets are 14-point underdogs.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
the
That's
Jets are
what this
starting a
is.
rookie quarterback today
Oh, Tyrod is still out, right? Oh.
against this fearsome freaking like Jags
Mm,
defense. So, I mean, I don't want
yeah.
any part of that game. I'm taking the Jets just because it's 14, and the
That's
Jags
a
do
lot.
jaggy things sometimes. Like the Jags are either going to beat them 35 nothing, or they're going to lose 16
Field
14
goal.
or something. Right?
Yeah, some
It's going to be
wildish. Yeah,
stupid. I hope. I'm sure the Jacksonville holds the form, though. I'm pretty sure that they win solidly today, but maybe not by 14. But like Trevor Lawrence has
mhm.
been looking great. ETN, like Jacksonville is really rounding into great shape for the playoffs. So
Oh
I
yeah,
think they win
they're
handily.
they're
But I'm
they're in
just
my
saying
top
that
five.
point
Just a
spread,
spoiler.
I would not put the mortgage payment on that game.
No, no, me neither. Me neither. Not at all. Me
Um,
neither.
the Buffalo New England game is one I'm sure everybody wants to talk about.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely, 100%. Bills are
Buffalo
favorite. The fuck?
Bills are favored by 1.5 points on the road against New England, even though New England is 11-2, 8-4
Right,
and 1 against the spread. Thank you very much.
right,
And Buffalo is 9-4 and 6-7 against the spread. And yet
right.
Buffalo is favored to go in there and win. Right? Because remember,
Mm,
there's a home field bias in there too of a point and a half. So what they're really saying is that they expect Buffalo to go in there and win by a field goal at least, right?
yeah, I think
And
the
I'm not
line has
buying
moved
that.
to two. The,
I'm
the,
not
the line
buying
has
that.
moved to 2.5 for Buffalo. I don't buy it either. I think
I
I got
don't
the
buy
Packers.
that for a minute, man. That to me, that's like a sucker's bet. And take
You're
the
right.
over. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, to me that seems like the
mm,
real absence of faith in New England, and I think
right,
New England's earned it at this point. Yes, their schedule has not been the toughest, right?
right.
And but it's not like Buffalo's is super tough
Mm,
either because they play in the AFC East, right? Lots of Miami's on
right.
there, and New York Jets, and
Yes.
other
Yeah.
AFC lessers. So like shit or get off the pot, man. New England's been shitting all week, man. 11-2, 8-4 and 1 against the spread. Give me them plus 1.5.
Yeah.
Um,
I like it too.
Baltimore and Cincinnati. I don't want any part of that game. I tentatively have Cincinnati covering, but just because
Right,
it's
right.
weird that Baltimore's favored by 2.5 in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 6-7 against the spread. Baltimore's really bad. They're the worst in the league. They're 4-9 against the spread. So even though in my
Yeah,
bones I
bad.
feel like Baltimore's going to win, I just have no confidence in them even covering a 2.5 point spread. Um,
Welcome to my life.
and yeah, right. And I'd say take the over in that game. It's 51.5. Like that game is just gonna be a sloppy, dreary mess, but it's probably gonna be highly entertaining.
Yeah, I
Tough
would.
one.
I'll go against you. I'll go against you. I gotta go with
Yeah,
the
of
under
course,
on
of
that
course. You gotta
because
take your team.
like I'm
Yeah.
gonna take my team. I'm gonna take my team, but I'm gonna take the under because if the offense is not flowing that nicely in Baltimore, I could see this going like a 14-7 game. It's
Right.
possible.
Gotcha.
Could be a divisional. You know what I mean? Yeah, just
Yeah. That would be
you know what I mean?
highly uncharacteristic though of when these two teams to get together, right? Like
Yeah,
last time they met early in the season, didn't Baltimore win like 45-41?
it was something crazy. Yeah, it was a real point shootout. But I think at the
Mhm.
end of the season, I think it's gonna be a defensive battle. That's just me though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. You know what I mean?
Now, the other one that's like huge, huge, and
Mm.
also a bit of a mismatch, I believe, according to the numbers, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers, 9-4, 6-1
Mm.
against the spread. So Chargers kind of
Mm.
underperform against the spread.
Right.
Against KC, which is six and
Mm.
seven, and 5-7-1 against the spread. So they also underperform against their record versus the spread.
Right.
KC actually has a decent points for, points against record for a team that's under 500,
Right.
sort of like the reverse of Chicago. But they're 3 points better per game.
Mm.
So, like according to their points for, points against, they win by a field goal every week or something close like that.
Right. Right.
The LA Chargers, on the other hand, like the Chiefs are 5-2 at home, so they're good like that. But as I noted, the Chargers are 3-2 on the road, and
Right.
like the math says that the Chargers, that KC is not 5.5 or 6 points better, or even a touchdown better than the Chargers. It just isn't. And the point spread is what, 5.5, 6 points,
It's 6 points. No, yeah, it's a
and
ton
it
with it.
started out at 2.5. So like everybody's
Oh,
going to the Chiefs. I'm going the
yeah,
other way, man.
no.
Give me the Chargers plus 6.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I could go with that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chargers just look good right now. They just look better than KC does. And
And
KC, as we know, has had
they
some
edge out
issues.
their wins. They edge
Yep.
out wins, like they win on. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
And I think that the run offense of Harbaugh, I think we get a strong dose of Omarion Hampton and Vidal, and I
Yeah.
think they run it down Casey's throat.
Mm.
DC Commanders and the Giants, like nobody even wants that. Like
Nah.
probably take the Giants, take the under.
Yeah.
Again, this is maddening, right? Because the Giants are like 2-11, but they're 7-6 against the spread, right? So it's the only reason this game is noteworthy is that they might be rock solid money simply because they overperform against the spread. Commanders, on the other hand, looked good against the Broncos the other night, but I'm sure that was their
Yes, they
game of
did.
the year, an
Yeah.
aberration.
Yeah.
One game that's really hard to handicap, so it's a challenge. So let's do it.
Mm.
Arizona is 3-10, but they're 6-7 against the spread, so they
Oh,
overperform. And
okay.
Houston is 8-5, 7-6 against the spread, so they slightly
Okay.
underperform their record.
Right.
And it's a 10.5 point spread. So I don't like that
Oh.
in
Oh.
with especially with Houston, how they tighten things up the way they do with their
Yeah.
defense. So I'm
Yeah.
taking AZ plus 10.5 and the over. I think points are scored in this game, believe it or not.
I believe so too.
And man, and then Las Vegas at Philly. Ah, man. Vegas's favor is a 12.5 point
12.
underdog.
Yeah. I
Philly,
saw that.
Philly's 7-6 against, so they underperformed their record against the spread. Las Vegas is 2-11, brutal, but they're 5-8 against the spread.
By
So
the
the
way, Unc,
whole,
I wanna mention this before you go ahead, right? They played the Broncos, talking about the Vegas Raiders. They
yeah,
played the Broncos last week, right? And I
yeah,
think the spread was 8 points. I think Broncos are favored by 8, right?
yeah,
And at the very end of the game, right? For some stupid reason, I think they're getting blown out by 10, right?
yeah.
They kicked the field goal. I'm talking about the Raiders at the very end to make it
Rather than go
7
for
points exact. So they could, cover in the spread. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I
it's
mean? Like, why would
Vegas.
you take a field goal when you're losing, right? At Vegas. And I'm like, are they manipulating the spread, bro?
He,
It made
he,
me
he,
think like,
he,
are you joking? Because
he,
it wasn't 8 points.
Carroll visited the MGM Grand before he came down to the game.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, damn, are you serious? And think about it like this. Remember how last year everybody was cooking Antonio Pierce and everything like that, and
Sure.
like that Raiders fan base was really going off on him.
Yeah,
They
man.
look worse this season, bro. The Vegas Raiders look worse
No,
this season.
brutal.
It's like they're 2-11, so we owe Antonio Pierce an apology, brother, because
He would
if
have
they're
drafted Shador.
that's a fact. Actually, he did say he would. He talked
Yep.
about it. He tried to
He
convince
says
upper
he still
management.
would. He said it last week
Yeah,
again.
there you go. So it shows me, are these Raiders doing some kind of like low key underground, like violating, manipulating the system? Like,
I
what are
don't
you?
know,
That
man.
just made me think, like, brother, the point spread was 8 points, and you guys kick a field goal in order for y'all to be down 7 points when
For
you knew that game was
years,
over.
for years, no sports team would ever consider location in Las Vegas simply because of its proximity, whether real or perceived, to
Thank
gamblers.
you.
For
Thank you.
exactly
Thank you.
exactly these types of narratives never ever emerge because there's no
Do
team
you
there. Now
think
there's a team
exactly?
there, and there's a
And
shitload of
and then
money.
yeah, don't you think everybody or a lot of people there got like a slip? You know what I mean? They passed by their local casino before they came to the game. So I'm just saying, Vegas, just watch when you go bet with them. I'm talking about betters here, guys. Watch yourself because they could
12 and a
screw you
half
over.
points.
Yeah,
12 and a half points against
12 and a
Philly,
half.
who are going
Yeah,
to have who certainly should have a burr under their saddle. Like if there's ever a
yes,
chance for Philly to, turn around its narrative, it's
yes,
definitely today. And I'm uber confident that they win at home. But am I
yes.
confident that they beat Vegas by 12 and a half? Not so
Yeah,
much.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right. So that's my pick on that one. Right. So I'm taking
Yeah,
Vegas on the 12 and a half. Now, the next
yeah.
one that's a bugger, like just a bear, man. Seattle 9-4, 10-3 against the spread. Lights
Talk
out,
about
number one in the league, no question.
very good.
They cover. They're covering more often than they're winning, right? Indy,
Yeah,
on the other hand, their troubles have been noted, right? 8-5, 6-5-2 against the spread, just a complete mess, right?
yeah,
So not really looking good. But Indy, 14-point underdog, like whoa. But they're starting Philip
yeah,
Rivers this week, dude. Like
yeah. That's
44
what I
years
was going to
old
talk about. That.
against the
Yeah.
most fearsome sack machine in the NFL. Like he
Oh,
wasn't mobile 15 years ago.
oh my God, this is gonna be ugly. By the way, I definitely I'm saying that's too large of a spread, brother. 13 and a half. That's too
Very
large of a
tempting
spread.
to take
But
Indy.
Indy, I would go Indy because, by the way, I think
Except for
something
the
about
fact that
Old Man
Seattle's
Rivers.
10-3 against the spread, right? Like if you're
Yeah,
taking Indy
that's a good
today,
point.
you're looking hard at that three saying nobody's perfect.
Oh, that's true. Well, quick hits. What are your thoughts about Rivers, man? Quick thoughts, my man. Rivers
Um,
coming out of
I,
retirement.
on one hand, I fear for the secondary of
Right.
Seattle. On the other hand, and what is far more realistic is that I fear for Mr. Rivers. Mr.
Yeah.
Rivers is making one hell of a commitment here. You realize that as
Yeah.
soon as he takes the field today, the clock is reset on his Hall of Fame admission, right?
Yes, I
Like
heard about
he,
that. Mhm.
yeah. So like he would have been like a unanimous Hall of Fame entrant this spring.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he's decided to put that on hold, put a pin in that for 5 more years, and he may not make it out of this game.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, will he make it out of the? Will he survive Seattle, brother? That's like
Like
one of the most fierce defenses
he's
in the
big
league.
enough that again
Right.
he can Roethlisberger it, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But he probably won't get hurt. But
Right.
like 44, man, like the game's like he
Oh,
wasn't that mobile to begin with in the first place. He's a classic,
right.
Statue of Liberty type quarterback.
Right.
Very accurate. He can tear him apart like Kirk Cousins, right? But like, think
Mhm.
about that. How old is Kirk Cousins? What, 38, 30? Like,
38.
and,
Kirk Cousins is like in his late 30s.
and he's
Yeah,
playing football all the time. Philip Rivers ain't
all
played
the time.
football in 5 minutes, man. Or, 5 years. It's been a minute since that man played football. He is not in
Right.
football shape, right?
Right.
And he's a gamer and like he's a big old man and all that type of stuff, but he's a 44-year-old big old man. And I'm
Right.
afraid that he, against the most fearsome sack machine in the NFL, I'm afraid it might end badly for Philip Rivers. And I don't want that. I like Philip Rivers. I think
I
he
like
should
Phil
stay
Rivers
home
too.
today and they should just throw whatever practice roster guy they have in there and just, dude, that's your fate, right? Doesn't always
My
work
thing
out
is,
for you. Play the
yeah,
guys who are not going to like possibly end up with like,
yeah.
I don't even
My
want to say it.
my my thing is, I'm thinking about like, bruh, how bad are all the other quarterbacks on the roster? How injured? How
I
bad
don't
is it
think
that
they are.
you go for Philip Rivers instead of somebody like Cam Newton?
Cam Ward was
I'm just
getting hot
saying.
about that,
Yeah,
huh?
there's like so many other options for retired guys or guys who are in a booth, a studio booth somewhere who are ready to play. My thing is, I'm gonna say it. Carlisle Ursay, it's not a good move by the young owner, man. And I
I'm sure
think
she's being
really,
advised on this one, though.
yeah, my thing is, it goes back to somebody who I really don't like, and this is an underrated narrative that we don't talk about. Some of the GMs in this league are very bad, or they need to go, man. Chris Ballard, you were part of this decision, man. 44-year-old Philip Rivers from coaching high school football to starting versus one of the best defenses in the league. We gotta fix this, man. Anybody
Well,
who's a Colts fan, Chris Ballard is not it. I'm hoping for the best for today because this is a good story to
yeah,
have. It's a good
yeah.
narrative to look at. But man, you're right. I'm scared. I'm shook, man. I
It
don't know what's
feels
gonna
like
happen.
it should be a Disney movie.
Right, right. You're right.
Right? Like
It's
it's
like,
like, and I'm afraid it's not going to end with bluebirds. That's what I'm afraid of.
That's what
right?
I'm saying, man.
So
Man,
yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, Ballard does have some real heat on him about
yeah,
this, right? Because first you draft
yeah,
Anthony Richardson, doesn't work. You bring in Daniel Jones, oops, right? Can't really
yeah.
control that. But like, where like give Cleveland credit. They started the season what, six deep, seven
Yeah,
if you
like
include
all the
Washington.
quarterbacks.
Like
Yeah,
if you can if you include Deshaun Watson, right? Like yo,
you're right. Yeah,
whatever you want to say about Cleveland,
and then
they might be
yeah,
down to their last rung, but like they
yeah,
had a full ladder
they had
of
a
quarterbacks,
yeah,
and I think Ballard has something to answer for in that regard. Why
right,
is your practice roster and third string quarterback so bad that you feel that you
yeah,
need to go get Phillip Rivers? I personally watched that third string quarterback for the brief period of time that he played last week, and I didn't
yeah.
think he was that bad. Right?
It was not that bad.
They keep
No,
living this fantasy
yeah,
that they're going to turn this thing around and recover the form that they had in the first 8 weeks of the season. It's gone.
yeah,
It's gone. Sauce
yeah.
Gardner was not the answer. Daniel
No,
Jones was not the answer. Like the
yeah,
answer is to just keep pounding the ground with Swift and get just your backup quarterback, whoever he is, in there and just checking down to Pittman, and you've got good receivers there. Like,
right.
just suck it up. You've got one of the great tight end rookies. Like, don't do this to Phillip
Tyler
Rivers. Just
Warren.
suck it up. Suck it up. You're not
Yeah,
going to make the playoffs. You had a great start to the season. There's a lot of reasons to feel optimistic for next year. But
right.
this like you've
This is a
spent
weird
what, how
move,
many
bro.
two first round picks to get Sauce Gardner that went south in
Oh,
about a month,
yeah,
right? It
yeah.
wasn't the answer. One person does not solve the issues in the secondary. So yeah, like Ballard sounds like he's a novice in there and that he's still swinging away. He doesn't know when to give up, which is part of the skill, right? It's part of preserving your assets. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think Ballard's a bit of a incompetent.
Telling you, he's a not a good GM, Chris Ballard. But guess what? We could go. It could go. Here's what I'm saying. Here's a little counterpoint to what we're saying. It could go full Joe Flacco and with the Bengals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At
Remember
least
when Joe
Flacco's been
Flacco?
playing regularly again,
That's
right?
a
Like
good point.
he's
That's a good
in
point.
game shape.
I'm saying there's a chance Old Man Rivers can find some magic. I don't know. We will see. That's
Anything's
why I want to get.
possible. It's the
Yeah.
NFL, so anything's possible.
That's a fair point. And let me tell you what's really, really possible is that you can be fired on your day off, right? And get arrested literally for the white girls. Yes, for the milk. I'm talking about we brought in a new segment, college football talk.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The biggest story in all of football. You could even say all of sports for like a few days, bruh. Michigan fires second-year head coach Sharon Moore, and you think, okay, it's what's going on? He went 9-3. Why are they firing him? They say they're firing him for a cause. What's the cause? What the hell? He just got there for a cause because he had an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. From all points of views, it's looking consensual, but allegedly he had been stalking her. Once he got this news, he went on off on his wife and
Yeah.
had some kind of argument. And then later on in that same day, a few hours after he got fired, he broke into the staffer's house, threatened to unalive himself. It's YouTube. We can't say some words, and threatened to
All right.
unalive her. Right. So this was crazy. In a span of I think 4 or 5 hours, he went from fired, arrested, in jail, and then has been in jail since Friday. Well, I think he got some kind of bail. He was in
Yeah.
before of a judge on Friday. As of this time speaking, Sunday morning, he has been fired and has lost out on $30 million, y'all. 30 M's, Unc. What do
Yeah.
you think of the wildest self-destruction thing? Man, I have no words to describe it, bro. Go ahead.
So here's the timeline. Here's the
Right,
timeline, right? He he's the assistant to Harbaugh during Harbaugh's run. And so he's
right,
had a couple stints where he's filled in because of suspensions to Harbaugh for sign stealing and all this type of stuff. So qualified head coach. And
right,
so anyways, and like you said, 9-3 and all that stuff. But
right,
the thing is he's been seeing this staffer like for a couple of years now. It's been ongoing for a while. And this is a
Right.
married man with 3 children, it should be noted. And
Not
so he's
good.
been having, this affair with this the staffer. And so like something went awry. Like as head coach, more eyes were on him, I suppose.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, she cooperated with the university and admitted the affair and agreed to sort of like terminate it. But
Right.
the question is like ongoing for where was the Michigan Athletic Department long before this? Right.
Thank
So,
you.
right.
Thank you, bro.
And so anyway, so that happened. So
Yeah.
first that relationship was terminated by her. Then
Right.
in the same moment, he's fired for having said relationship.
Yeah.
And at that point, he's spinning because now what's he gotten
Yeah.
out of this? His marriage is now most likely on the
In
rocks.
shambles.
He's
Yeah.
lost his job, which he blames squarely on the girl, right?
Right.
Because this is basically the equivalent of, the white girl yelling rape when her dad comes in and
Yo.
finds her fucking a black guy.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
He's
Same
like,
thing.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
going to lose my job because I'm my boyfriend? Well, no, I can end that. Not a problem.
And
2-3 years, right?
she's still hired. She's still with Michigan, by the way,
That's
because
right,
I
because
think
she cooperated with
she
she
co- she
cooperated.
cooperated with the
She
investigation.
called
But
rape.
it was you know
Anyways,
what it is from the Michigan perspective. This was like an open secret. Like everybody knew.
had
You
to
know what I
be,
mean? Yeah.
had to be, had to
Yeah.
be. Anyways, so she just shook it off, and so here he is now out of a
Right.
job. 30 million's
Right.
big money. Out of a
Wow.
job, out of the relationship,
Yeah.
and now he's got his wife to deal with.
Phew.
He's spinning. He's
Yeah.
spinning. But the thing is, though, this is where character comes in and saves the day, if you have
Yeah.
any. And it does not look like this man, Mr. Moore, has character to begin with because he undertook these various different things, trying to
Right.
eat at the banquet of life with both hands, right? Knowing
Yeah.
that Michigan had a zero tolerance policy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so for him to then turn around and start spinning and trying to get back at her, like he had to eat all of this and stuff it down
Yeah.
and come what may, he would have come out on the other side eventually.
Yeah.
It might have taken him 2, 3, 5 years. It might have ruined him financially, divorce, all that stuff, but he would have come out on the other side. Instead, he took this ridiculous course of action, very immature course of action,
Right.
desperately trying to plead with the girl and trying to make it all right. And how can you do this to me? And she's not responding to my text. Like, dude, like, do you not see what's happening to you? Do you not see how you're getting played?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and if you
Right.
know that, like, there comes a point you got to say, okay, fuck it. I just got to accept what's happening here and not
Yeah.
go so far as to get criminally arrested. He's under psych eval. Like, he's got an addiction
Ah.
problem with alcohol that's come to light as a result of all this because part of his bail conditions, right? They don't put that on there unless they're pretty sure someone, like, he probably showed up at the girlfriend's house drunk,
Drunk as
weeping
hell.
and
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd at the Office Christmas party, trading places, just melting down, right? Because
Yeah.
your life is melting down around you, but you're responsible. You have to accept responsibility and begin rebuilding immediately. But rather than do that, he went to his girlfriend's house, and now he's in jail.
And you know the craziest part about this is this was after signing day. You see it, man? Dan Aykroyd drunk as hell right there.
Still love
But
that movie.
this was after signing day. In other words, this is going to affect Michigan's upcoming
Oh,
class.
big time.
So they have a window after they sign. If the coach gets fired or something happens to the coach, they can get poached from other teams.
Yep.
Meaning, right? Their big value guy, one of their biggest guys that they got, Bryce Underwood, right? That like number one pick coming out of high school last year, who
Yeah,
is
we just
technically
talked
like
about
looked
this.
at
How
as
long would he
we
actually
talked
be
about
there?
yes, we talked about this regarding Ohio State versus Michigan. Hey, Yeah, LSU's probably excited to hear this news.
right?
A lot of
Like,
teams are
exactly.
excited to hear that Sharon Moore is fired because now
Well,
they can coach him off
and
that
that
squad.
because here's the
You know
next
what I
thing
mean?
too, right? Those
Talk about
NIL contracts. If you're the
it.
people who write those, how much do you want to write for Michigan? How much do you want to invest in Michigan now?
Right, right. How much you want to
And if
invest
you're a
in
player
Michigan?
and
Yeah.
you want NIL money, how
Oh,
interested in Michigan are you right now? Right?
you're probably looking at Ohio State like, man, why don't I just flip? Because
This is a
Ohio State,
problem.
yeah, and that's a problem. One thing that I wanted to mention before we get off the Sharon Moore topic, guys, sexual discipline, man, be careful where you're sticking it or what you're doing, because
Yeah,
had he not done these things, he would have been still coaching the first black male coach of Michigan. Keep in mind about Michigan, by
poised
the
to be
way.
a national star, and from there
Yes,
onto the
sir.
NFL, most likely. Right? Exactly. This is
Yeah.
all that he gave up because he wanted to eat with it. He wanted that second scoop of ice cream.
And the craziest part, think about Michigan right now. Since Harbaugh became coach, I think 7 of his assistants have been arrested for DUI, all types of things, and Sharon Moore is added to that list, brother. So
Yeah.
now you have a culture where they say, "Oh, be a Michigan man, have all these morals." Their whole thing
No, man.
is
No,
full
man.
of
There's
no
real questions
morals.
about the athletic
Yeah,
department, I believe. Because
of course, guys investigating for cheating.
the
Yeah,
rest of, like, look at
mm,
the other programs, right? With Jawan Howard. Didn't he get
yeah,
dismissed from coaching the basketball team because of some violent
yeah. He got in a
interaction?
fight. Yeah, he
And there's
got in a
another
fight with
coach.
an assistant.
There's
Right.
another coach who's in hot water too, right? So
Yeah.
it's at the point where you're looking at this now as an institutional problem
Correct.
at the Michigan Athletic Department. Because again,
Correct.
if they really have a zero tolerance policy, Sharon Moore should have had this issue addressed to him by Jim Harbaugh, no less, 2 years
Thank you.
ago.
And on top of that, I have a theory that I said that had Michigan beat Ohio State, would this even come out? Would
Ah,
he still
right?
be fired? Think about it, Unc. You know what I mean?
Fascinating. That's a fascinating. That is a fascinating question that I would love the answer to. But you're right. Time to move on.
Time to move on, man. And let's talk about our power rankings for our top 15, top not 15, top 5 going
Yeah.
into week 15. That's what I meant to say. Unc, how's it looking on your end, man? It's good, it's crazy. It's going down to the damn rope, man. We're almost there at week 17. Unc, it's gonna be a crazy, like you said, a lot of things are gonna be clear at the end of this week,
Yeah.
Unc. What
It's
do you
starting
got
to
for us?
calcify a little bit. We're starting to get
Oh
more and
yeah,
more answers.
yes sir,
I've
yes
got
sir.
Green Bay taking Chicago's spot.
Mm,
9-3-1, fairly decent 5 point, 5 and 3/4 point point differential, right? So on paper, they
correct,
win
correct.
their games by 5 or 6 points.
Yes sir.
I've got the Pats at number 4. Even
Okay.
though they're at 11-2 on that ridiculous winning streak,
Yeah.
solid 8.5 points in favor of the points for and points against, right? Solid team.
Mm,
But again, we have a couple of questions about how good the schedule is. We're going to get answers against Buffalo today, right?
yes we
And
will.
the other one is the Broncos at number 3. They've got
Oh,
better
okay.
wins than the Pats.
Correct.
But they don't win by as much. Again, like kind of like Green Bay, 5.5 or 5.6 points point differential on average per game. But they're
Right.
11-2, man, and that's significant. And they're better
Yeah.
wins than the Pats, but they're
Mhm.
AFC wins largely.
Right.
And as you and I have discussed at length, we firmly believe that the better teams are in the NFC.
Yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
believe that both the Seahawks and the Rams, as they appear in the
Mm,
standings in their own division, also
mm.
populate the 1 and 2 spots on my top 10 list. Both of them have
Okay.
almost identical, like, and when I say identical points for, points against, I don't just mean the difference. I mean they both
Mm,
have like almost an exact same number of points scored against and points for. It's like a difference of half a dozen. So they
right.
both win their games by about 12.5 points. And that is such a significant
Huge.
difference than every other
Yeah.
team in the league, where
Right.
you have on average 12.5 points difference between the number of points you score and points scored against. So I have the Rams firmly at number 1 and number 2 until I see one of these guys lose to each
Yeah.
other or to somebody else in the division or something to really change that status. As far as the eye test is concerned,
Yeah.
I believe that the Rams really are the number 1 team. And that's because of Stafford versus Darnold. Otherwise, there's so little to separate the two.
Yeah, that's really a fact. For me, it's up and down, and I've changed my opinions a few times, but I'm pretty much lock and step. Not exactly, but a few differences here and there. I want to give honorable mention, by the way, to the Packers on my list, Houston, and the Niners. So those are teams that are just scraping by, almost in the top five. I got
Niners keep
gonna
doing it.
surprise you. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you a surprise with my number five. I really like the Jags, man. I put Jags at number five for me because they're on a, I
Interesting.
think, a 4 game winning streak. I think they're gonna win again today. The Jags are solidly planting their flag in that AFC South. I think they're gonna win their division. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Lawrence is looking like the guy we all thought he would be. And look, what is it? Year
Oh yeah,
4? Was it year
yeah.
4 now for him?
This year five, I think, 5 or 6.
Right?
You know what I mean?
So
But let me give Lawrence some credit. He's had a ton of different coaches and coordinators, meaning
and Liam
he's never
Cohen,
had
the
a
Liam
consistent.
Cohen experience is starting to look real
Yeah,
familiar, isn't it? It's starting to look like
yeah.
that Tampa Bay team from last year.
Oh, absolutely. And if you look at the reverse, Tampa Bay is not looking that good offensively.
Looking like
They're hitting
ass.
they're up and down. You know, it's a great point. They're looking like doo doo. Real talk.
Yeah,
Jags
man.
are
No,
my number
Liam
five.
Cohen. Liam
Um,
Cohen clearly has some mojo when it comes to offensive schemes because,
oh
like we've
yes,
been saying for 4 years with Lawrence, just like it's the frustration. Like this guy he's
yeah,
preternaturally gifted. Why is this not doing better, right? And here comes Liam
right.
Cohen, and Liam Cohen is making the Jaguars look like they do when they're real good. Like because
Oh yes,
we've seen them
right.
up and down over the years. Sometimes they're just fantastic, and other times they're really frustrating, right? And they've
Yeah.
moved back into fantastic with Liam Cohen. So I solidly be behind that pick. That's a good pick, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, man. I'm liking number five with the Jags. Number four is the Patriots. Again, my thing is why I'm not so big on the Pats, even with such an amazing record. Shout out to them for being on a
I
10-game
know
winning streak. That's crazy.
it's a
They
lot of
are
weak
That's
competition.
a lot. That's a Thank you. Thank you. Look at the schedule. Look at the teams they're beating. They're beating a lot of the Titans. They're beating a lot of New Orleans. They're beating a lot of Cleveland's. They're beating a
Hmm.
lot of teams that are going to be drafting high in about a few months. You dig what I'm saying?
And they
So,
play in the AFC East, which is like
you know
it's
what I'm
a
saying?
weak division.
Commanders, Giants, like they're not playing the top guys, man. And that's why I got Seahawks in my number three. Um, Seahawks again, you explained it better than I did. They have been destroying, demolishing teams. That defense is going to take them far. And that's why I got Broncos as number two for me, because Broncos defense, they just make miracles happen, bro. I don't know what they have over there in Mile High, but whatever they're sipping on, smoking on, touching on, whatever, that defense is absolutely insane. And it's
Rocky
hard.
Mountain High.
Hey man, maybe they smoking on that nice ganja, bro. That's my guess.
I'm
Yeah, I
telling
mean,
you, boy. Yeah, man. Yeah. Colorado's a freedom state.
yeah, I like that. And then the Rams are my number one to end this list. Similar to the Seahawks, similar to Denver, they have an amazing defense. And the only big difference holding all these three teams apart, Matthew Stafford, brother.
Yeah,
Matthew Stafford, I trust him more than Bo Nix. I
I
trust
don't
him more
trust
than
Bo
Joe Burrow.
Nix.
Hey, I definitely if Denver's gonna lose, it's Bo Nix's fault. Let's start
Yeah,
off with
I do
that.
not trust Bo Nix.
Yeah, man. And that's my top five list heading into week 15, man. I think we're gonna have a lot of answers to our top five list
Yes.
at the end of this day. You know what I
And
mean?
and it's gonna be an interesting week, like I said, with all those double-digit point spreads, brother. Let me tell you, man, this is gonna be a fascinating week. And some of those storylines that I was talking about with the point spreads, like, dude, this is gonna be a very interesting week. I can't wait. And the Steelers don't play till Monday, so that means I could watch all this stuff going on the red zone, right? So it's gonna be dope.
I like it, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Liking, commenting, everything in between. People watching on the replay, man. Me and Unc, we are nowhere without y'all. And we salute
Yes.
y'all as y'all watch the games. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man. Love you,
Mm.
chat. Love everybody who tuned in to watch. Nothing but peace, love, and respect to all y'all. And we hope to see y'all next week. Enjoy the games.
Let's enjoy the games. Y'all hold it down. It's been Unconfused season 4, and we out.